What's going on, everybody? Eric Lindquist at Stochastic here on the Odd Chopper channel, coming to you with another edition of Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell. Goes a very long way for me on this video. Goes a very long way for you. That way you become apprised whenever great content is going live here at our little neck of the YouTube woods. Nice start of the night, having Baltimore up 184-1. Good couple of first innings there for them on that money line, on a couple of money lines early here. We'll kind of suss through it, but getting plus money on Baltimore, always a fun spot here against a guy like Chris Bassett, who just goes out, gives up 8 earned, and makes me feel smart from time to time. I know, we've been treading some water here from time to time. When it comes to the outright markets, home runs have actually settled down here the last 3 days. A little bit strange to me. Hopefully, we can get some hot fire here going into Tuesday evening and into Wednesday here. I've got a couple of plays in that department for you. Also sad that I can't ever short pitchers with you the day before, because there's a lot of times I want to short batter props or pitcher props, and I just kind of realized I don't ever get to do that outside of in that premium Discord. Hey, it's a great reason to check out BetMGM, so you can jump into that premium Discord, hang out with me, myself, and I. And hey, also Isaiah Suarez, who's like infinity when it comes to MLB, the college baseball World Series action, as everything's ramping up there. We've got Ben Raza with his U.S. Open card, if you want to be checking that out. Eitan Shander with his U.S. Open goodness, as well as all the parlay magic that he throws together every single day. So check it out, BetMGM. You're also getting up to $1,000 of a free bet right out of the get-go. So we'll talk about all the ins and outs of that deal here with the bonus bets you're getting back if that first bet loses. Only if you're 21 and over, and if you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-GAMBLER. There we go. I can speak the English language. This is my 5th show of the day. This is wild stuff, but you know what? The grind don't stop. The buck don't stop. I still hate that saying. We're going to ride. We got producer Jacob alongside it. We're going to get to all the ins and outs of this 15-game MLB slate. Lots to talk about. Let's get to the picks. Our voyage begins with A.J. Smith-Shawver here, going out there for his second start for the Braves, taking on Michael Lorenzen and these Detroit Tigers. They are apparently still going to play baseball tonight, even though first pitch hasn't even happened to my knowledge. It's pretty late. Rain delay. It's going to be an early morning for both of these baseball teams. Now, how do you even factor that in? What do we do for games that start at 1:10 when the game previously starts at about 9 p.m. Eastern time? It's going to be a short night of rest for both of these teams. Maybe it condenses things. I don't know. Narrative-based stuff, not my favorite. If I had some data in that perspective, that'd be a lot more fun for me. All I know is I have data when it comes to A.J. Smith-Shawver, and he's had some decent AAA results so far in the bigs, just 20 batted ball events here this season. 205 expected slugging, expected batting average sitting there at 162. We're talking elite type run prevention stuff. Just a 17.9% K rate so far, 10.7% walk rate, but I expect positive regression on both of those sides. And hey, it's Detroit. They have an 81 WRC plus against right-handed pitching. That is, it's not very good. It's not very good at all. So yeah, I'm obviously going to be leaning towards the money line on that side. The problem here is that it is the night before. It's all of those narrative-based things I said I don't know how to allocate. And the best number I have access to is minus 175. Now, Odd Chopper has this at minus 159 over at Bet Rivers. So awesome to all you Bet Rivers folks. Not for us out here in the Southwest, unfortunately. So it is what it is. I'm going to have to be shying away from this play specifically. Atlanta, of course, they're the better offense, but I think this is pretty appropriate number at minus 175. If I could get that minus 159, far more entertaining. So if you have it, you could look more in the light category. But as for me, I have to stay with a lean first game of the day. Minnesota Twins ran into an interesting third inning there. Pablo Lopez, it looks like, just gave up 3 earned right out of the get-go there. He looked awesome through 2 innings. And then I start recording this video and everything goes to shambles. Hey, that's always fun. Colin Rea on the mound. He's been in shambles all season long there for the Milwaukee Brewers, going up against Bailey Ober, who has exceeded all expectations that I could have possibly had for him. Now, it's not that Colin Rea is the worst pitcher in baseball. He's a 6'5", 6'6" dude who throws just a 92, 93 mile per hour fastball. Not a ton of velocity in the cannon there. Just a 21.9% K rate, but that is his highest of his career now through 5 big league seasons. He did go overseas, I believe, from 2017 until 2019, so there's a big chunk of missing sample size in the middle of it. But a 4.30 expected ERA would also be the best numbers that we've seen out of him in the bigs ever. So pretty wild stuff from Colin Rea that he's actually been better, but he's still terrible. Still not good. Terrible is a little bit mean. just not good. Bailey Ober, though, my God, I thought he was not going to be very good coming in. You talk about a tall dude. He's 6'9", 6'10" out there looking like a stork on the mound, throwing a soft toss and fastball, 92 that it tops out of. That was the whole thing with Colin Rios. Big dude, throws it soft, and yet this is a bigger dude, throws it softer. Wild stuff. But a 2.61 ERA this season, 3.53 expected ERA, sure. There's some room off the top of that thing, but Milwaukee, 91 WRC plus against right-handed pitching so far this season. Pretty good spot, just like it was for Pablo Lopez. And I'm factoring in starting pitching. I'm looking at bullpen situations. Minnesota, to my knowledge, with Pablo Lopez going right now, I don't think they're going to be taxed in any way, shape, or form. And that's one thing I do want to always draw attention to. Let you know, they're like, hey, there's certain things that I can't necessarily always factor in the night before. You got to do your due diligence in the morning. And that's where being in that premium Discord, getting the card an hour before lock really helps, as well as hitting me up on Twitter at Eric Lindquist. I love hearing from all of you. I'm sorry if I miss your messages. Twitter's been weird lately where I can't, you don't care. You don't care. It's the blue checkmark brigade. They're all coming for us. It is what it is. But on Twitter at Eric Lindquist, more than happy to help you if I see your message. How about I help you with this one? We want to target Colin Rio with some lefty power, whether that's Alex Kirilloff or the guy who's in the 8-hole tonight, Joey Gallo. Welcome back to the fray, to one of the best power lefties in all of baseball. Does he strike out a ton? Sure. Does he hit virtually zero singles? Sure. But he's also going to hit for crazy, outrageous, ridiculous, stupid power, especially against righties, specifically against righties. So he's batting 8th. We got plus 600 on FanDuel today. That's where the number closed at. It was sitting around plus 500, trailed up to plus 540. And as soon as he was batting 8th with a 59.2% hard hit percentage and a 476 expected slugging, that number got up to plus 600. This is going to be very dependent on his lineup spot, in my opinion. If he continues to be 8th against a righty, which, again, maybe they do bury him down there again and put Donovan Solano up there. I don't know how this guy has a 305 expected batting average. Wild stuff. But Max Kepler's back in the fray. Alex Kirilloff's there. You get Trevor Larnach, who we called back up. Lots of different pieces there from the twin side lefties that this lineup could be configured as. But assuming he's batting 8th, we're going to be getting something around plus 400 or better for sure. You could just write it in stone. But if it's going to be inside of 8th in terms of his batting order, you're going to be getting those short odds plus 320, plus 340. So this is very dependent on lineup spot. I don't want you blindly betting this one, friends, but Joey Gallo to home run, that's always an intriguing option for a guy with some of the biggest power in all of baseball. San Francisco, just reading my sheet incorrectly, no big deal. And Anthony Desclafani going up against St. Louis here and Mr. Jordan Montgomery. It hasn't been the best of seasons for Jordan Montgomery, or I don't know, the St. Louis Cardinals in their entire starting rotation in general, but he's finding times of success. That's a weird way of saying it. He's finding success when I don't always find it very likely. It's also stupid. 3.88 ERA. Compared to his 4.33 expected ERA. He's still not pitching all that well. I think that's a better way of saying it. Cool. Just a 21.2% K rate. He's never really had that in his arsenal. 26.3% in a very small sample size, the best year he's ever had in the bigs. 24.4%, the highest he's ever had in any kind of a moderate sample, anything that I would consider above 400 pitches. So he had 2,570 pitches there, 24.4% K rate there in 2021. So that's at least of note. Interesting spot here, though, but I'm going to be targeting him with some of this righty power that exists on this San Francisco Giants side. Now, are they all that good? No, but 94 WRC plus, a 133 ISO has got to come up, that's for sure, especially as they've started to get healthier. You're going to remove a guy like Jock Peterson, more than likely because of the platoon, but it's still, guys, it has to be I'm really not doing well here right now. Jordan Montgomery is not good. On the other side, Anthony Desclafani has a chance to be good even against this lineup, and this is really just what it comes down to. Some of you want locks that are certain value plays or likes that are certain, that aren't necessarily the most highest expected win percentage type plays. But when I look at San Francisco and I grind out these numbers and I see St. Louis's bullpen and I see San Francisco's overall starting unit here, plus 110, plus 120 on the San Francisco side for the money line. I think either of those numbers bears some kind of consideration backing Anthony DeSclafani. Has he been the best pitcher in baseball so far this season? Absolutely not. Far, far from it. But he is way better than what we've actually seen from him. A 277 expected batting average is terrible. Just a 17% K rate, only has room to grow. And I still like their bullpen more there than anything in St. Louis. 3.89 ERA. He's finding results still where he shouldn't. 4.51 expected ERA. And yet, I will simply take the value here. San Francisco on the money line. Yeah, it's a like on today's slate. And we head to New York. Concrete jungle where both pitchers are getting murdered. They have given up 9 through 4 innings, 11 runs through 5. In fact, now at this point in time, Yankees, Mets, pretty wild stuff considering, I don't know, name recognition. Said it before. Luis Severino on the mound, Max Scherzer on the other side, 11 cumulative through 4 or 5 innings. Ridiculous, but that's the game you play. There's also some weather, it looks like, likely to hit New York tomorrow on Wednesday. I'm not sure what to make of it. We're still almost 24 hours, 22 to be exact, hours away from first pitch of this baseball game. So lots that needs to be determined here. But it's Garrett Cole versus Justin Verlander. Garrett Cole versus Justin frickin' Verlander. How can you not like pitching here in this spot? And this is where all of you people who want me to evaluate things other than from starting pitching, we'll get into it a little bit more when it comes to Arizona, when it comes to that spot on Wednesday's slate compared to Tuesday's slate. We had a lock on Philly. We'll talk about that coming down the pipeline. But you get Garrett Cole with a 25.8% K rate, 315 xWOBA. Phenomenal numbers across the map. Now, not good for him compared to previous seasons. He doesn't have the 32, 33% K rate we're accustomed to. He does have a 4.01 expected ERA, which would be his highest since 2017. But he has a 2.84 ERA. He's still finding results-based stuff. Now, it's tough to be able to know exactly what you're running into because you're a veteran. You can pitch around certain pieces. And the Mets, well, they definitely have some lefties who can do some damage, but no Pete Alonso in that lineup. I don't know what to do here. It is just a tough spot overall. And on the other side of this one, you're getting into Justin Verlander territory, which has been terrifying territory this season. Sub 20% K rate, 43.3% hard hit percentage, and living in New York City now with Kate Upton as his wife. I'd probably be distracted too. That's all I'm really getting at. That's not in the data. Don't have a way to back that up. Just a thought. So I see 7 as the prevailing number here going up against the shell of a Yankees lineup. Stanton went yard. They're finding success. DJ LeMahieu, he went yard. Lots of pieces who can still get it done. Torres, Volpe, Rizzo, of course. Enough there on the Yankee side where I'm leaning on the over of 7. I've got this at 7.4 runs. Now, that's not a lot. But there's also the opportunity for Garrett Cole to be pitching a lot worse than he's been of late. And you get some of these lefties, I repeat. Got a catcher right now, Francisco Alvarez. That's been fun to watch come to fruition. Brett Beatty, Brandon Nimmo going nuts. There's enough there here. I should probably be elevating this play, not projecting out crazy well. Want to be paying attention to the weather as well, but over 7, that's where I would lean. Happy Jose Barrios Day to all who celebrate to use and use alone, my friends. Jose Barrios taking on Kyle Bradish. I don't like Kyle Bradish. There's no way. Yeah, there's a way. He's got a 45.6% hard hit percentage, 431 expected slugging. Those are terrible numbers, but he still has Adley Rutschman back there doing his due diligence, trying to keep things intact. He should just get all the medals for what he can do from the catcher position. But Jose Barrios, he's been improved in some departments. 33% hard hit percentage, 22% K rate, near league average there. We're starting to float around the median there. However, 3.61 ERA can only go backwards. 4.57 expected ERA on the season for him. And, oh yeah, money lines. We're looking at value again in this Baltimore offense. They went out and proved my point on Tuesday, what they're capable of, just against anybody, a Chris Bassett spot. My only qualm here is I might even be minimizing this a little bit. I mean, I only went half a unit there at plus money here. You do have to lay the juice. It might just be half a unit regardless. Yeah, it probably will be. I don't want to talk myself out of it. Baltimore money line, it's projecting out very nicely for me. Yeah, Kyle Bradish, just don't get murdered, please. That'd be great. Thanks. Producer Jacob decided to point out to me before this program, Eric, there's a couple of plays that are projecting out the same. There's also some that are projecting out different, but identical play here that is still not a play from Tuesday into Wednesday. We have Colorado, we have Boston, and a little bit different pitching complexion with Garrett Whitlock on the mound. And Colorado got out early on Mr. Crawford. I didn't know what the pitch count could really get up to. He got to 75 there, but Garrett Whitlock, we don't necessarily have those kind of concerns. I have the, is he actually a good pitcher or not kind of concerns. 4.78 ERA, 1.28 whip, but underneath it all. Again, Gwen Stefani. 19.7% K rate, 293 expected batting average. That, my friends, is not what we want to see. Sub 5% walk rate is decent, though. And a 5.02 expected ERA, God, there's a lot that's good, lot that sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit. Let's talk Austin Gomber, though. Austin Gomber is somehow way worse than you could ever imagine, so it is what it is. He is out there throwing little softball lefty tosses, 582 expected slugging, 413 xWOBA. 413 xWOBA with just a 14% K rate and a nearly 10% walk rate. It's not a whole lot of hope if Justin Turner gets a hold of one, so you best start believing in ghost stories, Mr. Turner. You're in one. But that's not going to be on the card initially. Want to see those odds. And plus, is Tristan Cassis in the lineup or is he not? Because there is actual pitch hit concern. And these are the things that I hope you're listening to over the course of this. When they're both in the lineup, I feel a lot better about the chances where you're not going to get Turner pitch hit for, because then Kike would be kind of your utility player. And Justin Turner has way more power and he's the right on right guy. Better righty than Kike for sure. But Boston minus 1.5 is going to be the lean yet again, even though it did not make the card there on Tuesday. Thank goodness. But it doesn't look good, even though Devers did go yard. Bases are loaded, bottom of the fifth, 4-2 Colorado. Little score check. You don't care. This game is over by the time you hear this. You really don't give a flying F, do you? Boston minus 1.5, just a lean. Probably not going to make the card, but pay attention to the Boston lineup. Always an interesting thing to be factoring into your projections. Speaking of projections, again, we're all about the market-based approach here at OddsShopper, a little bit different where you're able to look at the lines and see where there are inefficiencies. And, well, when it comes to some of these big boppers, there's not a whole lot of inefficiencies when it comes to Ohtani and Trout and even Rendon and Ward. It seems like these numbers are landing about the same on the home run props, but offensive display here, once again, is anticipated. I was thinking about the over and making it a like. It projected out nicely for me as well, but market-based approach, not a whole lot's different here. Pretty much every single book sitting around the same numbers when it comes to this total, 9.5 across the board. Would like to see some disparity. If I could get to a 9, that'd be fun, because we have Andrew Heaney and Reed Detmers, two southpaws that I don't really value very well in terms of actual pitching. They can both spike up a strikeout upside, especially Heaney on the Texas Rangers side. But Mike Trout got the day off on Tuesday. He kicked up his feet. He chewed on some bubble gum. Maybe he gets a pinch hit appearance or something. All I know is he's facing Andrew Heaney. He has got a 36.1% hard hit percentage, which is kind of nifty. But the 404 expected slugging and the exit velocity when balls do get put in play is above average in baseball at 89.9 miles per hour. I know, that was a lot to throw at you. I'll at least throw Reed Detmers in there for you. 44.2% hard hit percentage, 274 expected batting average on that side, and a 27.2% K rate that's actually higher than Heaney's 24.4% on the season. And that, my friends, is why I'm going to be looking at Andrew Heaney, because that K rate, as good as it's been over the course of the last couple of years, it's down in an earlier round. And Sugar, we're going down swinging with Mike Trout for damn sure here. If he's better than plus 275, which is the baseline I have on this one, he is getting added to the card. Now, there are some books that are going to have it below that number. There are some books that might have it higher than that number. That's why you want exposure to OddsShopper. That's why you want to be shopping for the best lines, and why you want to be signed up at DraftKings, at FanDuel, and BetMGM, and all these great places that I'm going to talk about in 2 seconds. But Los Angeles Angels, come on. Mike Trout, off of a day of rest. Oh, Lord Trout goes yard for us on Wednesday. Just a lean right now. Pay attention to that number. My friends, BetMGM, you want to be signed up at as many sports books as possible so you can always get the best line, as I was just talking about with the Mike Trout home run. And, well, BetMGM has had a lot of the best home run and total bases props and pretty much every hitter prop across the board. And now that we get into these summer months where it's a lot of baseball, a lot of PGA, if that's your liking as well, it's definitely my liking. And, we'll have some NBA draft analysis and try to hammer a couple of props here and there in that department as well. But BetMGM It is one of the best sports books, if not the best sports book around for strikeout props and hitter props. I found so many inefficiencies over there, as has Odd Chopper. I'm telling you, you want to be signed up there, and we've got 2 great deals going with them right now that should kind of, add a little bit more than just having exposure to another sports book. Number 1, you will get 2 free months of Premium Insider Discord. That's myself, Isaiah Swaros. We've got Ben Raza. We've got Eitan Shander. Every analyst you know and love over on the Odd Chopper channel is out there grinding for you in that premium Discord, helping you do the best you can with all the information we have at Odd Chopper and employing it in our betting cards and everything else that we do over here on these programs. But secondly, a big one, up to $1,000 back in the form of bonus bets if your first wager loses. So let's say you put $75 in on a money line and I'm an idiot and I lose it for you tomorrow. Well, you didn't actually lose it because it's coming back to you in bonus bets. So you have an opportunity to recoup those. You have an opportunity to fire it back up over at BetMGM. A second opportunity, if you will. Not many spots, not many times you're going to get that in the sports betting space. So take advantage of it up to the fullest extent you can. All the way up to $1,000 is what you are allowed over on that first wager at BetMGM. Again, if it wins, you keep the money. If it loses, you get whatever you wagered back in bonus bets. Pretty great deal if you ask me, going along with them over at BetMGM. So I know you have your DraftKings, your FanDuel, your Caesars Sportsbooks, but check out BetMGM. Think you'll really like what you see. Only if you're almost said the wrong number. Only if you're 21 and over, and if you have a gambling problem, please call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Already all halfway point. Let's get back to the picks. What an interesting spot this is. There is no line. Part of that is because, you run into Wrigley Field. We don't always have these lines. Got to be paying attention to park factors. Wrigley Field, the most affected out of any other ballpark in baseball with wind in terms of what it does to their ballpark. But we have Kent Emmanuel. I don't know. That was terrible church singing. We got Kent Emmanuel on the mound going up against another just interesting piece there on the Chicago side, at least a known entity, Drew Smyly, who's been good, 20.5% K rate. He's not going to ever strike out and be like your favorite DFS option in the world, but phenomenal matchup, 30.8% hard hit percentage, 292 xWOBA, lots of good going along with some of the, he's just being Smyly. Just is what it is. Smyly Kaufman, anyone for the golf people? No? Pittsburgh does have a 107 WRC plus, so maybe not as good of a matchup as you might anticipate, that's for sure. It's always nice when I go back and look at the data that goes into these things, but this is the main piece of data point that I have. Kent Emmanuel, go to Fangraphs.com, you'll look him up, and what do you see? A 31-year-old looking at me with a ridiculously bad profile in AAA ball. 6.28 ERA so far this season in 9 starts, 11 appearances total, and a 3.99 xFIP. Isn't as bad as what those results are, but the results are still pretty bad. He does not pitch in the West Coast League. He's in Pittsburgh. It is what it is, friends. He's not good, and they might just throw him out there to get thrown to the wolves. Now, this Cubs lineup isn't exactly stalwarts, but still, I got to be leaning their direction at least. I'm sure the number is probably going to be out of whack when it drops. So this is just a hit me up on Twitter at Eric Lindquist thing. But assuming it's Kent Emmanuel like it is projected to be, I definitely would be siding with the Cubs on this one. It would be hard to run into a number unless it's plus 180 or better. I mean, I doubt that's going to be the number that we run into that I would possibly be backing the Pittsburgh Pirates. Another quick lean here. We got Cincinnati, we got Kansas City, and this was a series that we had kind of been targeting. We got the Sal Perez bomb to hit the over the other night. By the way, 2-0 on locks on Monday. Yay. The tide is turning, my friends. The tide is turning. But Ben Lively against Daniel Lynch. Lively and Lynch. This will be fun. Ben Lively, 24.8% K rate. That's kind of lively. 459 expected slugging. That's lively off of bats. Now, the 6% walk rate is nifty, but Kansas City, it's mainly the matchup that you might be backing him and trying to make it work for. But I haven't pulled the trigger yet, and part of that is Daniel Lynch is the profile of a pitcher that I actually think could be successful against the Cincinnati side. I'm not sure about Elly De La Cruz as far as left-right splits. I'm excited to see what that ends up panning out to be when we're talking about and projecting him going forward. And Matt McClain, obviously this would be on the strong side of his platoon, but Daniel Lynch isn't a complete gas can like some of these other Kansas City pieces. Now, he has been a gas can in the past, that's for sure. absolute gas can in the past, but down to a 4.30 expected ERA in a very limited 280 pitch sample size so far this season. He's only 26 years of age. Pitchers can improve. I try to give them that opportunity. And he's gone from 17.7% for a K rate in 2021 up to 20.3% in 2022. And 23% would be the high point for him in 2023, although in the smallest sample size of all. That's what I keep talking about. So Daniel Lynch, not sure entirely what to make out of him, but I think Cincinnati money line, just looking at the numbers from the onset, has to be the lean at least for you. Now, there's some strong discrepancies between BetRivers, where this line is minus 104, and DraftKings, where this is minus 120 on Cincinnati. So again, I think you're looking at a decent spot to be playing Cincinnati if you're at the book I don't have exposure to, but I can't get on BetRivers, so it sucks. Cincinnati is a money line lean for me. Would like to see that line drop, that's for sure. We head to Houston, where I did not end up firing up Washington plus 3.5 in the end. Talked about it pretty in-depth last night. At the end, I just couldn't talk myself into it. I'm going to do a little game drop in. Check this one. Bases are loaded. Bottom of the third, 2 outs here for Houston, 0-0 as it is right now. 0-0 for all you soccer folk. You could also bet on some soccer here this summer at BetMGM. Be fun. I'm not going to be betting on soccer. Not that I don't like soccer. I do. I just think my money line plays suck. Just saying. Wouldn't be good in soccer. Framber Valdez, though, on the mound going up against Josiah Gray. Josiah Gray, probably the second best pitcher in this rotation behind Mackenzie Gore. That's a terrifying thing to say, considering he has just a 19.6% K rate, 11.9% walk rate, and now is in the matchup that nightmares are made of, facing Houston, although still without Mr. Yordan Alvarez, so that's a plus. But I am definitely 100% looking at K props when it comes to Framber Valdez for tomorrow. I'm very intrigued to see where the books end up dropping them. And he's kind of the focal point of what I want to talk about here. Don't think I'm going to be going to these kind of insane lines that we're looking at. If I tried to fire up anything here, might be on the Washington side, considering these numbers. Minus 250, best available number on the money line to try to back Houston for Wednesday. No, thank you, ma'am. I will pass. I will have the dessert. I don't know what that means. What am I saying? What I'm saying is Framber Valdez, 26.5% K rate, just a 6% walk rate. Does give up that hard contact, but as I always talk about with him, when it is put into play with that sinker ball, the ground ball rate is through the roof. 59.9% this season is actually down from his 67% he had last season, and it's still elite beyond elite stuff. So Framber Valdez, definitely in discussion for an AL Cy Young, that's for sure. Yeah, no, that's going to be an interesting race, that's for sure. But looking at Framber Valdez, I think up to 8 Ks. Please don't drop this line at 7.5. How about a 6.5? One-time dealer? And then we can get on the alternate line. 8 Ks? Maybe you could inflate this up to 9. You can maybe talk me into it, but I want to see where the lines drop. Just very interested in backing Framber Valdez against this Washington side that... They're not very good. Just throwing it out there. They do strike out at the lowest rate in all of baseball at 16.8% against left-handed pitching. But my friends, they're not good. And Framber Valdez could go very deep into this game. I love backing him here, assuming that that line ends up being 6.5 for tomorrow. And now, again, just taking a gander, a shot, if you will, on the over 7.5, assuming we get plus money on that. 5 games to go. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. If not for me, for producer Jacob, who, regardless of how my picks do, has to, bear the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune. Who die to sleep no more. Shakespeare. Okay, cool. Good talk. Glad we had it. We've got Miami once again here in Seattle. Wild seeing these two teams playing. Like the baseball schedule, though, where we get a bigger mix. Yuri Perez and Luis Castillo. Look at that total. It is so low. I bet it's one of those rapper girls totals, if I had to guess. Yuri Perez, 213 expected batting average, 301 xWOBA, but he's very good. 24.8% K rate, 10.7% walk rate in a pitcher's park, very comparable. In fact, the best pitcher's park in baseball there, up in Seattle. But Luis Castillo gets that same game environment. Miami, they don't strike out as much there as the Seattle side, but still, a 30% K rate. Bet he finds strikeouts of his own. 46.7% hard hit rate. Get by Jorge Soler. Get by Garrett Cooper. Garrett Cooper. Mine. How many rap songs can we throw into one little feature? I don't know, but lose yourself in the moment, the music, the moment. I screwed it up. It was going so well. Under 7, I actually like it. It's done. Sad. We've made it, my friends, to the only lock on the board. I gave you a little foreshadowing if you were listening earlier. We were on the Philadelphia side for a lock here. We'll see how that works out. Bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it works out for him. But we are going to go to the complete opposite end of the spectrum here. And this is my favorite thing about baseball. Surely not my ROI on moneyline and total bets so far this season. Home runs, we like those, but I'm going to improve. We aren't even halfway done with this MLB season. I've got a lot of room for improvement. And thank you, Baltimore, for at least solidifying an early W. First play that was on the card here for today. But we are looking at a starting pitching flip-flop, if you will, between yesterday, where we had Arizona with nobody and Mr. Zach Wheeler on the mound going up against Zach Davies. Yeah, we backed Zach Wheeler. We are going to back Merrill Kelly. He's my absolute dude. Merrill, for all of you Pokemon fans. 26.8% K rate, 234 expected batting average, and a 311 xWOBA. He has to contend with a very, very difficult batch of lefties. Kyle Schwarber, Bryce Harper. It's 2 lefties. Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber. Brandon Marsh, if he ends up in the lineup ever again, he's got a 50.4% hard hit percentage. Kind of surprised he hasn't gotten enough of a leash there. He does have a 33.5% K rate. And, well, you do have Cody Clemens there who went almost yard. It was kind of wild seeing that home run alert taken off the board yesterday, but that was Monday. Then Tuesday hasn't happened yet for me. It's happened for you. Let's talk Wednesday, shall we? It is Ranger Suarez for the Phillies here. 289 expected batting average is very high. A 331 xWOBA is not great. We're not really seeing any of those Ks, 21.1%. And a lefty so far this season, it's been not great facing Arizona. Not great at all. Just a 21.1% K rate against them. And then a 104 WRC plus do the Arizona Diamondbacks have, because somehow they're good this baseball season. Wild. I guess Corbin Carroll can do a lot. He's a little neutralized left on left, but not really. He's just a freaking stud. Evan Longoria, Emmanuel Rivera. This is definitely the right side of it to be on for them. Ketel Marte, Lourdes Gurriel, who's been smashing baseballs this year as well. And my guy, Christian Walker, used to be on the card a lot last year. This year, not so much. Books kind of caught up to it. It's kind of a sad fact is that you have a guy, you ride it for a while, you have a lot of Jose Barrios days, and you get occasional glimpses back into the mirror like we get today when you get to go against them. But still, it's all about the numbers, baby. And then you get Benjamins. I suppose we could have sung that anyway. But Merrill Kelly, my friends, he is definitely the guy that I am backing at this kind of a number. It is priced in for the difficult matchup here going up against these Philadelphia Phillies who have a 152 ISO against righties. And that should only come up because, again, Bryce Harper, he ain't been around that long so far this season after his Tommy John surgery last year. So friends, oh boy, lock button season. Diamondbacks behind Merrill Kelly get it done in a great matchup going up against a Ranger Suarez. Again, great matchup to face Ranger Suarez. Still tough for Merrill Kelly, but price is definitely reflected. Tampa Bay heading to Oakland. Oakland is 6-0 coming into Tuesday. That game hasn't started. We're an hour away. And God forbid if Oakland just finds a way to put another W on the board, even though didn't end up on the Tampa Bay side of it this time around. Again, I took a deep shot for half a unit at -2.5 the other night, and it was just a stone cold disaster. Both teams were traveling. We can't even blame it on traveling for all you travel people. I'm not one of them. But either way, Tampa Bay -1.5. That's been a play that's routinely been on the board this season. It's generally gone better than it hasn't. The prices aren't all that great from time to time, and I think that's my main piece of apprehension. We're also seeing stuff like today where your tickets got voided if you had Tampa Bay and Oakland because, well, they went to a starter out of middle of nowhere, and then the prices came down, the books got more information, and I just ended up staying away from the whole thing. Here, it's expected to be Funky, Cole, Medina. Yeah, Luis Medina. A lot of rap references today. Let's click at a ticket. Let's see. Seatbelt fasten, trunk Bradlin. Yeah, good stuff. Luis Medina there going up against Tyler Glasnow, my friends. And Glasnow is one of my favorite cash cows. He's been that dude for me repeatedly, year in, year out. Ended up getting hurt last season after the sticky stuff. Whole conversation about that one time. But 3 starts into this season now. it's been pretty good. We're starting to see it immediately. Sub 3 ERA, 1.09 whip. He generally has the velocity, and well, it's only going to get worked up and it's only going to get better. And I think this might be an interesting spot to take a shot, but unfortunately, the prices just aren't there. You have a terrible starter for Oakland. You have a terrible bullpen, and some books have already moved this to -2.5, but there are some -1.5 sitting there, but at pretty heavy juice at -162. Do I believe in anything that Oakland's been doing of late? No, I do not. They're the worst team in baseball. But you got to play the price game. I think this is a stay away. It's close to a play, but Tampa Bay -1.5 on the outside looking in, maybe, as books move to 2.5, if I could get something at even money, maybe a sprinkle and move along with my life. Cleveland and San Diego coming up here next. Going back to Petco. Can't go back to Jersey. Ain't going back. We got Michael Wacha here going up against Aaron Savale. And Aaron Savale has just a 16.1% K rate. And is going to face some lefty power there, especially with Juan Soto. 58.1% hard hit percentage and a 496 expected slugging. What? I thought this was a down year. Well, it's been a down year in terms of results. He's still above average by a landslide, 258 average, 10 homers, 869 OPS, but a down year by Juan Soto and what San Diego's paying for Juan Soto's expectation level. So I will say that much. Having Fernando Tatis and protection ahead of you, that's going to be good going forward, that's for sure. But Trent Grisham, Gary Sanchez has found a way to be a serviceable ball player for this Padres team. Hilarious. The Mets cast him off after like a cup of coffee. RIP. New York Mets legend, Gary Sanchez. I always laugh whenever people do that on Twitter. But we're looking at the Cleveland side. Savale, not very good. Michael Wacha, been pretty good this season in terms of analytics. 33% hard hit percentage, 237 expected batting average, right around a 23.5% K rate. And the results have been great, just like last year, despite an expected ERA that's higher, 3.18 ERA. Can it get much higher? It can definitely get higher, 3.93 expected ERA, just throwing that in there. However, why are we on the over here? Oh, because Aaron Savale isn't all that good, and Michael Wacha, I don't completely buy everything. I've been trying to back him from time to time, and I don't know, it's gone worse more than it's gone well. Great analysis by me. Good job, Eric. But Michael Wacha, primarily throwing those fastballs. Cleveland has the lefty power when Josh Naylor, Josh Bell, Jose Ramirez, that I think they can do just enough to punish mistakes from Michael Wacha, and I think that's the name of it. He doesn't have a ton of mistakes in terms of control, a 7.3% walk rate, but sometimes it's left out over the plate. And in terms of the standard usage there, as I look at it this season, home runs have littered him in the past. He's actually always been pretty good at avoiding homers, to be honest. But 6 homers this season, 1.09 whip. I expect that number to come up is what I'm getting at. So the over of 8 here in the nightcap, or the near absolute late night hammer, I believe that game starts just before the Dodger game. It does. Half an hour discrepancy. Look at me. I know things. Over 8, projecting out just well enough, 8.6, to get on the card for Wednesday. And our last game of the night, I promise this wasn't intentional, but we took one resting star in Mike Trout. We're going to take another resting star to hit a homer in this one. We got the White Sox, we got the Dodgers, Clayton Kershaw on the mound. We are not going after him in any way, shape, or form. That's for sure. Has he given up more power this season? Absolutely. He's starting to get up there in age, but he has been so damn good still in pretty much every single department. 30.3% K rate, 291 xWOBA. And you look at these White Sox. Last year, they had great numbers against left-handed pitching. Still better, 103 WRC plus against lefties compared to you look at them against righties. They are dog doo-doo, 82 WRC plus. So that still reigns true. It shouldn't surprise anybody when you have Jake Berger and Fries, Andrew Vaughn, Eloy Jimenez, Tim Anderson, Yohan Moncada, and Luis Robert, all righties or guys who are better from the right side in the switch hitting case of Yohan Moncada. But we want to be targeting Mike Clevinger here. He is not the Mike Clevinger of Guardians days. 18.9% K rate. I think you know by now what I do with this. If you have a right who has a 21.5 degree average launch angle, fly ball pitcher, and he's facing a team with power on the other side and strikes out a lot, like Mike Clevinger against Max Muncy, we're taking the Max Muncy side of this one every single time. He has a 27.9% K rate on the season, but in addition to that, a 364 xWOBA, a 505 expected slugging, which is what matters when it comes to homers, and a 47.9% hard hit percentage. He gets the short little section out there, right field. He can pull it around the pole there in Dodger Stadium. I let Prosecco. It's beautiful beer. It's great stuff. Going to right field, Mr. Max Muncy. Oh, yeah. He's day-to-day here right now, but he said that he would just be out on Tuesday, and he should be back into that lineup on Wednesday. We will find out here, though. It's Dave Roberts. I wouldn't be surprised if they showed caution to it. So I'm going to throw it out there. Max Muncy, I love here, but I also love Freddie Freeman. So one of the two you could be getting to. Jason Hayward even was batting cleanup on Tuesday in relief of Max Muncy. So be paying attention to that news. I know he's got an MRI that was scheduled for Tuesday, so we got to be paying close attention to that news. But Max Muncy, I'm going to say and or Freddie Freeman, just so that people don't get mad at me, because Freddie Freeman, he's healthy. He's been on the card a million times. He's got a 625 expected slugging. Seems pretty good to me. Yeah, seems pretty good to you too. Max Muncy could be Freddie Freeman, though. And that does it for another edition of Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. Go to that comment section below. Let me know your favorite plays on Wednesday's slate. I'm sure you're going to recap my Tuesday for me. I'm sure everybody's going to be super nice, and everything's just so easy. No, I deserve it. I'm out here giving you the picks. I'm putting my time and energy. Hopefully you can appreciate that regardless of the results, but also this is also results that we are looking for. Just like you can check out at BetMGM, get those improved results by shopping for the odds, whether it's at DraftKings, FanDuel, BetMGM, Caesars, you random sportsbook X. I don't care where you get the best numbers at. Just find them every single day. That is the approach you need to have to be a successful sports bettor over the long term. Have more than one sports book. So if you're looking for another, check out BetMGM, only for 21 and over. And if you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. Lots of prayer hands there. Lots of prayer hands. Now I'm self-conscious. I don't even know what to do with my hands. Now I'm going to go watch Talladega Nights. Until next time, friends, till Thursday, I'm Eric Lindquist. Best of luck in the MLB streets on Wednesday.